Tonight on LoOG Center, we recap the Week 2 games, top performers, and early season favorites. Tom gives us his story on girl power, and I give you the lowdown on players who have gone down with injuries. So stay tuned for these stories and the Blitz, only on LoOG Center.
Welcome to LoOG Center. I am your commissioner, Thomas Offen.
And I'm your defending champion, Jeff Fribbins, filling in for Jason Widstrom, who's at the proctologist.
Week 2 is in the books. Some teams had it good, some teams not so good.
What about you?
The beginning started okay, but then around 4:03 p.m. I went into a dark place.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried. It's only halftime. I got time to come back. But I'm expecting a full recovery in Week 3 coming up.
fantastic.
How did your weekend go?
I'm not gonna lie, it could have been better, but I think I held up pretty well.
About what time did you know you were in trouble?
Probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock-ish, that kind of, just after halftime. Yeah, that seems right.
No, I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to come back. I'm feeling pretty strong about this one, no doubt.
Every aspect of this football team. I think it's Mac. Is he jump in with both feet, or is he ease himself? Starts, and it starts with a tough one. Top team in the third, trying to find fish down there. And all by making our practice field blue, it makes the players think maybe there is something to this. 6 straight there. They're 19-1 there on national television games and 1 loss.
So now it's time to get down to it. It's time for
The Blitz. First game on tap this week, Ray Finkel's boys takes down Chubby Funster 100-86. Matt Ryan helping out Ray, 19 points on 225 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Unbelievably, Matt Schaub's 32 fantasy points with 497 yards passing and 3 TDs didn't net Tom the win. Kind of a bummer.
Suddenly, I'm enjoying the Matt Schaub era, but if you do the quick math, you'll see that the rest of my team scored maybe 30 points.
Ouch.
Ouch, indeed. In the next game, Sterling Archer dropped one to the F-Bombers 92-69, and this one was not even close. Joe Flacco only contributed 6 points to the Sterling Archer, and Javad Best for the F-Bombers had 42 points. He is living up to his name there.
Stud. Next, Sugar Hill Gang takes down Team Jacob 92-45. Frank Gore, 30 fantasy points, 112 yards rushing, 56 yards receiving, a touchdown in each slot there. Brett Favre does nothing to help Team Jacob, 4 fantasy points, 225 yards passing, 3 INTs, and a fumble which was recovered for a touchdown. Ouch. Sugar Hill Gang 92, Team Jacob 45.
Quarterback controversy brewing in Team Jacob. Next up, a close one. Gothenburg Vikings eke one out against the Smithfield Slugs. Jay Cutler continues to impress with 25 fantasy points. And the Gothenburg Vikings powered again by Phillip Rivers, not so much by Chris Johnson.
Rough day for Johnson. Next game up, Plain Nasty taking on Prestige Worldwide. Sam Bradford for Plain Nasty actually did it pretty good for a rookie, getting 2 touchdowns and 13 fantasy points. But the big winner, LaShawn McCoy, 32 fantasy points, 3 touchdowns, and 128 yards on the ground. Prestige Worldwide couldn't get bailed out by Peyton Manning's strong game. 255 yards passing, 3 touchdowns with 22 fantasy points. Plain Nasty, 91. Prestige Worldwide, 83.
Next up, Responsible Lobster hosted Jesus at the Lobster Dome, and it was a 30-point win. for the Lobster. Tony Romo pitching in with 18 points. Carson Palmer, only 6 points. Chad, 85, 4 points for the Crustacean. Jason Snelling sat on the bench with 37 points, which was not needed ultimately.
Undefeated in the Lobster Dome this year. Impressive. In our next game, Team Evil takes down the Slobberknockers 107-82. Aaron Rodgers for Evil had 26 fantasy points. Deshaun Jackson, 21. McFadden, 16. Great production for Evil. Donovan McNabb couldn't bail out the Knockers. 23 points, 426 yards. Impressive, but not enough.
This week, the Stepdads played host to the Cock Ringos in the Week 2 Game of the Week. Unfortunately, only one of these teams could win, as both of them had been at 1-0.
Yeah.
So, who went 2-0 this week? I believe both of us called it. The Cock Ringos beat the Stepdads 88-65. Your thoughts?
The game really didn't live up to the expectations that we put on it. It looked like it on paper it was going to be a close game of the week candidate, and they didn't come through. They didn't live up to the hype at all.
No, Drew Brees had an anemic for him, 18 points. Tom Brady, same thing, 13 points, only 248 yards passing, 2 TDs, 2 ints. I think that means interceptions.
Antonio Gates did perform fairly well for the Cock Ringos, netting 17 fantasy points on 2 touchdown catches. That was kind of the high point for the whole thing, I would say.
I would agree.
So, yeah, the Cock Ringos take the Stepdads out behind the woodshed and stomp on their scrotes.
The top story coming out the first week of the League of Ordinary Gentlemen was the performance of our rookies, who went 4 for 5. This week is an altogether different story, but no less disturbing.
Indeed.
Girls, girls, girls. The 3 girls in the League of Ordinary Gentlemen this week went 3-0.
Very impressive. Very impressive indeed. Let's look at the scores.
So Plain Nasty won 91-83. F-Bombers won 92-69.
69.
And Sugar Hill Gang won in what was the biggest margin of victory this week, 92-45.
That's a beatdown right there.
That is a beatdown.
Plain and simple. Next on LoOG Center, we go over some key injuries in the LoOG this year. Everybody knows that injuries are part of the game, but when it happens to your team, it sucks ass. So to the Reggie Bush owners out there, I'm looking at you, Team Evil. Bad news. Broken some part of his leg.
Something Ibia.
Yes.
And that is never good.
No. Ibia's breaking. Bad news all around. He's going to be out for at least 6 weeks. Also, breaking news which concerns Braylon Edward owners. Damn it. Braylon Edwards was stopped this morning at 5 o'clock and blew a .18 on the blood alcohol test, which is good enough to net him a DUI.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
According to our Luke Center lawyers.
And it's also sure to come with some sort of suspension. So he wasn't spending much time in the game for me anyway, but it still doesn't help me out.
Not so much.
Doesn't help me out.
Let's take a quick look at who's at the bottom of the LoOG this week. Well, it's basically us too.
Yeah.
In response, I have pledged to not shave until I win a fantasy football game this season. So here's hoping that I pull through in week 3 and not pull some sort of Joaquin Phoenix type spiral into.
We don't want to see this.
No, we really don't.
we don't. Trust me. It's like a Sasquatch with mange. We do not want to see this.
And in response to his 0-2 start, Sterling Archer has put out the following missive to his players.
Gentlemen, I'm sure you're all wondering why I've gathered you here today. The current season is in jeopardy. Our team has yet to register a win, and this is simply unacceptable. You need to take responsibility for your actions and have accountability for your failures. Joe Flacco, 12 fantasy points over 2 games. Simply unacceptable. Braylon Edwards, you have the same number of DUIs as touchdowns, for Christ's sake. And Ryan Matthews, you were a first-round draft pick in the LoOG and the NFL. Start acting like one. And you there, Tony Moeka, new guy. 2 things. Don't screw up and don't get too close to Flacco. He smells bad. So listen up, you losers. No one is going to give you anything. We are the champs. We've got the bullseye on our back. We've got to earn every inch we get. I never said it'd be easy. I only said it'd be worth it. Now go out and earn it.
And that was Missive from the Sterling Archer. And now it's time for the Week 3 picks, brought to you by Arizona Iced Tea. If we take a look at the picks from last week, our records, we both went 5-3 in Week 2, and I am 10-6 on the season, and you're right behind with a 9-7 record.
I'm coming for you, baby.
Yeah, we're doing well. Doing well there. Our team's not so well. Our picks, much better. So, first matchup we got is Chubby Funster versus the F-Bombers. Who you like?
I'm going with the Funster. He's going to win. Shave the beard.
I'm also going with Chubby Funster.
Next game, the Smithfield Slugs versus Prestige Worldwide. Who do you like, Tom?
I like Prestige Worldwide. Peyton Manning taking on the Denver defense. Going to cut them up.
I agree. Big time win here.
For Prestige Worldwide.
For Prestige Worldwide.
Up next, Slobber Knockers versus the Stepdads. Who you like?
I don't like the stepdads, my stepdad, but I'm going with these stepdads. Stepdad's big. Brady might get 100 points against Buffalo.
He's not my real dad, but he is my stepdad. He's going to win big.
All right. Sterling Archer versus Team Evil. What do you think, Tom?
I like Team Evil and the upset. Sorry to say, buddy. But Reggie Bush out, but I still think Team Evil will win.
My team is horrible. There will be no upset. Team Evil will crush me.
Oh, pick it against yourself.
Yes.
Yikes. Plain Nasty versus Responsible Lobster. Who's your money on?
Can Lobster go 3-0? Yup. 3-0 for the Lobster.
I also like Responsible Lobster. Carson Palmer and Chad 85 going for the double dip, baby. Double dip alert.
Next, we have Sugar Hill Gang and the Gothenburg Vikings. Who do you like?
I'm taking GV, the Gothenburg Vikings.
GV?
They're pretty evenly matched, but I think GV's going to pull it out.
GV kind of sounds like an STD, something you'd pick up in Singapore. But I do like the Vikings to keep raping and pillaging their way to the LoOG title.
Okay. Touchdown Jesus and Team Jacob going at it for the first time this year. Who you like?
Jesus scores.
Jesus scores. I'm also going with touchdown Jesus. Josh Freeman is at quarterback for Team Jacob. Not putting in the Sanchez or Favre. A little bit of a quarterback controversy there for Team Jacob.
Finally, the game of the week. The Cock Ringos versus Ray Finkel's boys. This is as big an early season matchup as we can have. Both teams undefeated. Both teams very impressive in their first 2 weeks of the season. Who do you like, Tom?
Well, the winner of this comes out in charge of the Saved by the Bell division. I'm going with Cock Ringos.
Little Ringo around the collar. I'm drunk. Cock Ringos.
Nice. So that's it for this week in the LoOG. As always, I am your commissioner, Thomas Offen.
And I'm the defending champion, Jeff Privence.
Good night and good luck.
Good night, Carol Burnett's daughter.